Well, good evening. This is Kent Blaylock with SDG Replays coming to you live this evening from a cool but nice evening in North Carolina. I'm going to be continuing this evening with what I have titled the Dumpster Fire Invitational. The Dumpster Fire Invitational is a tournament between the bottom 16 teams from the 1979 baseball season. I've been playing it using PCreplay baseball, and we are now into the finals, the last two teams standing in this tournament. And unusually, it's a 14th seeded team against a 12th seeded team, so the worst of the worst are in the finals to be the best of the worst. 14th seeded New York Mets versus the 12th seeded Seattle Mariners. In this contest, as we'll take a look at how things unfolded. Let's go in game. You'll see in the first game, the Seattle Mariners won a 3-2 tightly contested contest. 7 hits by the Mariners, 6 by the Giants. It went to the very end with a 3-2. No, that is incorrect. Excuse me. Looking at the wrong game. This is the game. That was the Mariners' game to get into the finals. Against the Mets, again, it was a 3-2 game. It was even closer. The Mets were held to just 2 hits, as it was a pitching duel that was won by Mike Parrott, 3-2. In game 2, the Mets come storming back and hit the ball well. There were home runs that went out by Mazzilli, Henderson, Stearns, and Youngblood. So 4 home runs going out in that game, actually just blasting them out of the ballpark for an 8-3 win, tying the series to 1-1. Then we come to game number 3, which was a exciting, nail-biting, down to the very last out, 10-inning, 1-0 win by the Mets on a walk-off hit. And let's go into the box score to see that conclusion to that play-by-play. Let's go to play-by-play. And as we go to the 10th, bottom of the 10th, Alex Trevino, single walk-off, Hebner scores, and that was the game. So Alex Trevino comes in, pinch hits, comes in and hits a single, and it was a 2-out single that scores to win the game for the Mets to go up 2-1. Yesterday's game saw another tightly contested game that went 6-5 with Joel Youngblood driving in 2 in the bottom of the 9th to win the game. Give me 1 second. My dog's wanting out of the room. Pardon me. He comes in, acts like he wants to be in, but once we get started, he wants to be out. So the Mets have a 3-1 lead in this best-of-7. So if they can clinch it tonight, they can win this game and close out this series. We're still in Shea Stadium for the Mets. New York leading the series, best-of-7, 3-1. So we go to today's game. Mike Parrott will be back on the mound pitching for Seattle, trying to repeat that Game 2 performance. Let's go ahead and set our lineups. And get into this game. This crucial game number 5 for the Mariners.
Gentlemen, boys and girls, we'd like you to rise and please sing as John Kiley plays our national anthem.
Replay Radio is live from New York. Top of the first.
So here we go to the top of the first. For the Seattle Mariners, you have Julio Cruz leading off at second base. Rupert Jones batting in the second spot at center field. Bruce Bochy at first base batting third. Leon Roberts in right field batting fourth. Batting in the fifth spot, Dan Meyer in left field. Batting in the sixth spot. And I got to click on. I just want to make sure his first name. Bill Stein batting in the sixth spot. Now, how do I close out of that? Batting in the seventh spot, Larry Cox. Batting in the eighth and catching. Batting in the eighth spot, shortstop Mario Mendoza. And pitching for the Mariners today, Mike Parrott. Pitching for the New York Mets, Craig Swan. Craig Swan, during the regular season, was 14-13 with a 3.29 ERA. During this tournament, he's pitched 39 and a third innings with a 2.29 ERA and a .99 WHIP. So Julio Cruz steps to the plate to get this crucial Game 5 started. Here's the pitch from Swan. It's lifted into left field. Henderson settles underneath it for out one.
1 out, base is empty.
I'll bring Rupert Jones to the plate. Jones, during this tournament, is batting .242 with 11 RBIs and 5 home runs. As Swan toes the rubber, Jones digs in. Here's the pitch. It's hit deep into center field, or short fly to center field, excuse me. Hit short to center. Lee Mazzilli settles underneath it for out number 2. 2 up, 2 down.
Base is empty.
That'll bring Bruce Bochy to the plate. Bochy batting .303 with 6 RBIs and a home run during this tournament. Here's the pitch from Swan. It's a ground ball to second. Flynn up with it. Over to first for the 4-3 put out. 3 up, 3 down. We'll go to the bottom of the first. Excuse me 1 second. Let's make an adjustment here with relation to me. As I call the game. Lee Mazzilli stepping to the plate for the Mets, as Mike Parrott will be our pitcher for the Seattle Mariners. Parrott has pitched 41 innings in this tournament, allowing 27 hits. He has a 2.2 ERA. with a .90 whip. So he's pitching well. As Mazzilli steps in, batting .274 with 9 RBIs and 3 home runs. Mazzilli digs in. Parrott to the stretch and the pitch. He strikes him out as Mazzilli walks back to the dugout.
1 out, bases empty.
I bring Tim Foley to the plate. Foley batting .254 with 5 RBIs. Here's the pitch to Foley. Parrott delivers it. Mendoza with a leaping catch of the line drive for out number 2.
2 outs, bases empty.
That'll bring Steve Henderson to the plate. Henderson batting .348 with 9 RBIs and 1 home run during this tournament. Here is the pitch from Parrott. Henderson digging in. And he strikes him out.
It's a 1-2-3 inning. Top of the second.
As we go to the bottom of the second. The top of the second, excuse me. Top of the second. Leon Roberts stepping to the plate, batting .224 with 3 RBIs. Swan toes the rubber. Here's the pitch. Roberts digging in. Hits it sharply to Flynn at second. Possible infield single as Roberts will try to beat out the throw, and he does as he legs it down to first for a single.
No outs, men on first.
That'll bring Dan Meyer back to the plate for this game. He's batting .303 with 11 RBIs and 3 home runs. As Roberts on first.
It's a hit and run.
It's a ground out to first. And it's Roberts out at second. Myers beat the throw out to first.
1 out, men on first.
So with 1 out, Bill Stein comes in, infield in halfway, double play depth. As Swan steps in, batting .714 with 7 at-bats. He's swinging a hot bat. Can they cool it off? Craig Swan into the windup. Here's the pitch.
It's a hit and run.
Another hit and run. Ground ball to first. Montanez will step on first base to retire Stein, but Meyer will be moved over to second.
2 outs, men on second.
That'll bring Larry Cox up to the plate, batting .172 with 11 RBIs. Cox has not hit for average, but he has hit with opportunity, driving in 11 runs on that .172 average. Here's the pitch to Cox. It's a triple. It gets past Mazzilli in center field. That will score Meyer as Cox drove it to the center field, left center field wall.
2 outs, men on third.
Scoring Meyer. That'll be Mario Mendoza to the plate. Mendoza batting .193 with 2 RBIs as Cox takes a short lead off third. Here's the pitch. It's a fly ball to deep left field, but Henderson to the warning track for out number 3. But 1 run does come across
Bottom of the second.
in the top of the second. As we go to the bottom of the second, Seattle up 1-0. That'll bring Willie Montanez to the plate. Montanez batting .290 with 14 RBIs on 3 home runs. Mike Parrott into the windup. Montanez digging in. Here's the pitch. It's a fly ball into center field. Rupert Jones underneath it for out number 1.
1 out, bases empty.
Again, that will bring John Stearns to the plate, batting .257 He hits a line drive to center field. It drops in front of Jones. So Stearns hits it to Jones. Can Jones get to it? Range check on Jones. And he does, holding Stearns to a single. And I'll bring Richie Hebner to the plate. Hebner batting .309 with 5 RBIs. So Mike Parrott glances over at Stearns to try to hold him on the bag. Here's a pitch from Parrott, And he strikes him out as Richie Hebner goes back to the dugout with his head hung low.
2 outs, men on first.
And Joe Youngblood, the MVP of the last game as he drove into winning runs, steps to the plate, batting .238 with 10 RBIs. Here's the pitch to Youngblood. Mendoza with another leaping grab at short, leaving Stearns on first. We go to the top of the third, with Seattle up 1-0. Mike Parrott stepping in. Again, in this tournament, no designated hitter, so the American League pitchers are having an exercise in futility. As Mike Parrott steps in to the batter's box, here's the pitch. He pops it up to third. Richie Hebner underneath it easily for out number 1.
1 out, base is empty.
That'll bring Julio Cruz back to the plate. He flied out to left field his first time up as Cruz goes into the Swan goes into the lineup. Cruz digs in. Here's the pitch. Single to center field as Cruz rips one into center field, bouncing in front of Mazzilli for a leadoff single. Man, I'm just botching up the call so far. That's a 1-out single as Cruz looks to steal. He'll steal second without a throw.
1 out, men on second.
He's also looking to steal third. Can they hold him? He steals third, so Julio Cruz, with 2 stolen bases, is now standing on third with 1 out. And 90 feet from the Mariners' second run as Rupert Jones steps into the batter's box. Swan digs in. Here's the pitch. And he will walk Jones. It's the unintentional, intentional. Maybe they'll look to turn 2 on Jones. As Bruce Bochy comes back to the plate, he grounded out his first time up. And Jones will look to steal to erase any chance of a double play. And they will hold him on first.
1 out, men on first and third.
Hey, Bears Den, how you doing? Thanks for coming out. We have a 1-0 game so far, but we're just into the top of the third as Bruce Bochy steps in. Runners on the corner. Here's the pitch from Swan. And he strikes him out. Just what Swan wanted. Now he don't have to worry
2 outs, men on first and third.
but getting this out to close out this inning. Roberts steps to the plate. Leon Roberts singled his last time up. Swan into the windup. Here's the pitch to Roberts. It's a line out to second base as Flynn stabs it out of the air for out 3.
1 hit and 2 left on.
So with 2 left on, the rally is killed for the Mariners. And we go to the bottom of the third with the Mariners up 1-0. Doug Flynn stepping to the plate. Flynn batting .230 with 6 RBIs during this tournament. And Bears Den, if you haven't caught it, this is what I've titled the Dumpster Fire Invitational. It's a 16-team tournament with the bottom 16 teams from the 1979 MLB season. We have got to the finals, and we have a 14th seeded team against a 12th seeded team. So it's almost like we got the worst of the worst playing to be the best of the worst, if that even makes sense. So Flynn steps in. Here's the pitch to Flynn. It's a ground out to short. Mendoza up with it over to first for the 6-3 put out number 1. Now to bring the pitcher Swan to the plate. Swan during the season batted .123. So he swings the ball bat but very lightly. Swan digs in. Parrott with the pitch. And he strikes him out.
2 outs, base is empty.
And now to bring Lee Mazzilli back up to the plate. Mazzilli, his first time up, struck out. As Parrott looking to get out of this inning. And he will walk Mazzilli, so Mazzilli gets the free pass with 2 outs. We now have a runner on for the Mets, who are trailing 1-0. Possible wild pitch by Parrott, and he has pretty good control, and it will be blocked.
2 outs, men on first.
As Cox makes a good play behind the plate, keeping the ball in front of him, and Mazzilli on first. As Foley steps back into the batter's box. Here's the pitch from Parrott. It's a ground out back to the pitcher, over to first
No hits.
for the 1-3 put out. So a runner stranded.
Top of the 4th.
We go to the top of the 4th with the Mariners still leading 1-0. Now to bring Dan Meyer to the plate. As the pitch is delivered, it's hit to second. Flynn with a difficult play. The ball took an odd hop. And he's able to field it over to Montanez for out number 1 on the 4-3 put out.
Base is empty.
Great play at second by Flynn as Bill Stein steps in to the batter's box. Batting .625, he grounded out to first his first time up. Here's the pitch from Swan. And we will have a rare play possibility. And it is a base on balls. I am curious, how rare is that?
1 out, men on first.
I don't consider a base on balls a rare event in a baseball game. As Larry Cox steps to the plate, he tripled, driving in a run, the only run of the game his last time up. As Stein, possible pickoff. And he gets back.
1 out, men on first.
Stein taking a bigger lead than Swan was comfortable with, but Stein able to get back. As Cox steps back into the batter's box, Swan into his delivery.
It's a hit and run.
It's a ground out double play. It was the 6-4-3 double play.
And none left on. Bottom of the 4th.
As we go to the bottom of the 4th, Mike Parrott pitching well through 3 innings. He's allowed 1 hit with 4 strikeouts. As Henderson steps in, he struck out his first time up. Hey, Anthony, how are you doing, bud? Thanks for coming out. Again, this is the 1-0 game. This is a must-win for the Mariners as the Mets are up 3-1 in this best of 7 for the title of the best of the worst in this dumpster fire invitational. And we have the 14th seeded Mets going against the 12th seeded Mariners. Henderson steps in. Here's the pitch from Parrott. It's hit sharply to Mendoza at short. Over to first for the 6-3 putout. But Henderson is trying to beat it out. He is putting them up and down, and he beats out the throw by a half step. He was motoring down that first base line, and he is safe, beating out the throw by Mendoza. So a premature out called by me as Henderson beats the throw out as Montanez steps in. Flew out to center field his last time up. Parrott eyeing Henderson on first, goes into the windup. It's a fly out to center field as Rupert Jones settles underneath it. That will hold Henderson on first.
1 out, man on first.
So with 1 out, the runner on, John Stearns steps to the plate. Stearns singled his last time up as Parrott goes into the windup. Here is the pitch. And he strikes him out as Stearns takes the walk of shame back to the dugout with his head hung low.
Man on first.
Now bring Richie Hebner back up to the plate. Hebner struck out his last time up as Henderson takes a short lead off first. Here's the pitch from Parrott. It's a double to right field. It gets past Roberts to the wall. Henderson moving around third. Third base coach waving him on in as Henderson will score. And we now have a tie ball game as Hebner will hold on second.
2 outs, man on second.
So we're now tied to 1-1, 2 outs, runner on second, and Joel Youngblood stepping to the plate. Here's the pitch, and they will intentionally walk Youngblood.
2 outs, men on first and second.
To get to Flynn. Flynn grounded out to short his last time up. Here's the pitch to Flynn. Was that a mistake? He flies it out to Jones in center field. Jones settles underneath it for out number 3.
And 2 left on.
But not after a run comes across, and we go into the 5th with our game tied up 1-1.
Top of the 5th.
And Mario Mendoza stepping into the batter's box. Flew out to left field his last time up. Here's the pitch. Mendoza digging in. Hits a ground ball to first. Montanez tosses it to Swan as Swan steps on the bag
Base is empty.
for out number 1. Now bring Parrott back up to the plate. And Anthony, just because you arrived a little late, no designated hitters in this tournament. So Parrott is, as I said earlier, is taking a practice in futility of swinging the bat. Here's the pitch from Swan, as I've got, interesting enough, 2 birds today as my pitchers, a swan and a parrot. Here's the pitch to Parrott. And he'll fly, he gets it under it and flies it out to center field, as he did make contact.
2 outs, base is empty.
But that'll make 2 outs, 2 up, 2 down, as Julio Cruz steps in. He singled his last time up and is 1 for 2 on the day. Here is the pitch. Yeah, Anthony, I don't like the DH. Let him play. Let him bat.
1-2.
And he strikes out Julio Cruz. And we go to the bottom of the 5th. Tied up 1-1. And Swan stepping to the plate. Here's the pitch. And he strikes him out. And that's probably the reason they don't hit. That'll bring Lee Mazzilli back up. Mazzilli reached on balls last time up. As he digs in this time, Parrott with the pitch. Hit weakly to second, or a line out. Didn't sound like it come off the bat very heavily in the sound effects. So line out, 2 crews. The L4 put out.
2 outs, base is empty.
As Tim Foley steps to the plate. Foley 0 for 2 on the day. Grounded out to the pitcher his last time up. As Parrott goes into the windup, Foley's digging in. And he will hit it back to the pitcher.
Go down quietly, nothing doing this half inning.
Over to Bhakti. 3 up, 3 down. So we now go to the 6th with our game still tied 1-1. And Rupert Jones stepping to the plate. Craig Swan into the windup. Jones takes a swing at it, hits it to second, over to first for the 4-3 put out. The ground out to second.
1 out, base is empty.
That will bring Bruce Bhakti back to the plate. He's 0 for 2 on the day, striking out his last time up. Swan with the pitch. Another rare play event. I'm skeptical of the rare plays sometimes. It's a dribbler to the mound. Swan up with it as Bhakti is motoring down first. Can he get him? He does not as Bhakti beats out the throw to first for an infield single. The reason I'm skeptical, the rare play event before this one was a walk. I don't know how rare that is in a game. Leon Roberts steps in, 1 for 2 with a single as Bruce Bhakti stands on first, takes a short lead. Here's the pitch from Swan. It's hit to Foley at short. Possible error on Foley as it's hit hard, takes an odd bounce, and it gets into left center field. Score that in E6 as Foley booted it. As Dan Meyer steps to the plate. Meyer 0 for 2 on the day as we have runners on first and second. Infield halfway in. Swan brings the pitch. Meyer takes his cut, lines it out to third base. That'll hold Bhakti on second.
2 outs, men on first and second.
As Bill Stein steps in. He walked his last plate appearance. 2 outs. Infield at regular depth. It's a fly out to center field as Lee Mazzilli settles under it for out number 3.
1 error, and
2 left on. There in the top of the 6th. As we go to the bottom of the 6th, Steve Henderson stepping back in to the batter's box. He singled his last time up as Mike Parrott goes to his windup. And he will walk Henderson as Henderson gets the free pass to first base.
No outs, men on first.
And he's going to attempt to steal. Henderson will steal the base as he slides under the tag as Cox's arm wasn't quite strong
No
enough.
outs, men on second.
So no outs. We have a runner on second and Willie Montanez stepping to the plate. Here's the pitch to Montanez. It's a looping drive to left field. Myers on his bicycle trying to get to it. Can he get to it? He cannot. He had no chance as that was a single to left field. It will score Henderson. Henderson's speed made it an easy score from second as the Mets are now up 2-1. Got the corners in as John Stearns steps to the plate. He struck out his last time up. It's hit to Mendoza at short. It's hit hard. Possible error on Mendoza. He does not. There is no error. So they get Montanez out at second. Stearns will be on first with the fielder's choice. Infield now halfway in. Try to get the double play as Richie Hebner steps in. He doubled his last plate appearance. It's Parrott with the pitch. Hits it to first. Bhakti, possible error. And it's a good possibility. Bhakti booted it, allowing Hebner on first and Stearns to move over to second. So we give that an E3 on Bruce Bhakti. So with one out, runners on first and second, Joel Youngblood steps to the plate. Here's the pitch. It's a single to left field. It's hit in front of Meyer. But Stearns will hold at third as Doug Flynn steps back in. Parrott needs to pitch himself out of this situation. Infield in halfway. Here's the pitch. It's a short fly to right field. Lead runner is safe. Stearns is able to score as it's deep enough as Roberts' throw is not in time. Will we have a throwing error on Roberts as he's trying to get it home? It is an error.
Two outs, men on second and third.
So that moves Youngblood and Hebner to second and third on the throwing error. And that'll bring Craig Swan up to the plate. So a 3-1 lead. Swan will swing away. Here's the pitch to Swan. And he strikes him out to end the inning. But not after 2 runs come across.
2 errors and 2 left on.
As we go to the top of the 7th. With the Mets leading 3-1. The Mets leading in this series clinching game for them. If they win this one, they would win 4-1. As Larry Cox steps up into the batter's box. Here's the pitch from Swan. Ground ball to second. Flynn up with it over to Montanez for the 4-3 put out and out number 1. That brings Mario Mendoza to the plate. Mendoza digging in. Swan with the pitch. It's a fly out to center field as Mazzilli ranges underneath it for out number 2.
2 outs, bases empty.
Parrott stepping up to the plate. In this situation, we're at the top of the 7th. They're trailing 3-1. Do I go ahead and pull Parrott? What says the chat? Do I pull him? Or let him swing away? This is a guy that is not used to swinging the bat. That's what I thought. Thank you, Anthony. Yank him. Oh no, I forgot. I have it on the computer making all the decisions. I can't yank him. The computer's going to leave him out there. I will not do that again. I will not play that way. Yep, oops. Well, this is how it's going to play out. Parrot in digging in as Swan goes into the windup. It's a short fly to center field for out number 3. Now, my thing is why would the AI not pull him there? That's interesting.
Bottom of the 7th.
As Take Me Out to the Ball Game plays. We go to the bottom of the 7th with the Mets leading 3-1. Lee Mazzilli stepping back to the plate. He's hitless on the day. Parrot digging in as the band continues to play. Here's the pitch from Parrot. And he'll foul it out as Cruz ranges down the first baseline to get the foul out down first for out number 1.
Base is empty.
Now bring Tim Foley back to the plate. Foley steps into the box as Parrot toes the rubber. Here's the pitch. It's hit into center field. It's a looping drive. Can Rupert Jones make the play as he's sprinting after it? He does. He gets it off the shoe tops for out number 2. Fly out to center field. Scored in F8.
2 outs, base is empty.
That'll bring Henderson back to the plate. Henderson walked his last time up. Here's the pitch from Parrot. And he'll ground out to
An easy inning to score. 1, 2, 3.
and that's 3 up, 3 down. As Henderson grounded out to Parrot.
Top of the 8th.
So we go to the top of the 8th. Swan still in. He's getting near his fatigue level as Julio Cruz steps in. Cruz struck out his last time up. Here's the pitch from Swan. It's hit to Montanez at first. Possible infield single. As Montanez, booting it around, could not get over to the bag. As Cruz beat out the play. So Cruz on first as Jones steps to the plate. Here's a pitch from Swan. And that'll be 2 balls.
No outs, man on first.
So Rupert Jones steps back in. Here's the pitch. It's a line out to right field. Youngblood making the play. And he will not get a boost. So he is getting tired as Bruce Bhakti steps in. He singled his last time up as Cruz takes a slight lead. Here's the pitch. It's a ground ball to third. Richie Hebner up with it. Over to second for the force. As Bhakti reaches first base on the fielder's choice.
Man on first.
Now bring Leon Roberts back up to the plate. Robert reached on a E6 his last time up. As Swan brings the pitch. It's hit to right field. It's a line drive toward the gaps. Can Youngblood get to it? He does as he scoops it off the shoe
2
tops.
runs, 1 hit, and 1 left on.
And we go to the bottom of the 8th with the Mets still up 3-1.
Bottom of the 8th.
Parrott still on the mound, still pitching well. He's got a 5-hitter going, but he has allowed 3 runs across as Montanez steps back in. And it's a double to right field. Gets beyond Roberts to the wall. It's a leadoff double by Montanez. Infield in at the corners is Parrott beginning to tire. Bullpen gets busy for the Mariners as Roberts goes into his windup. Stearns steps into the batter's box.
He's going to lay down a bunt.
And he's laying down a bunt, sacrifice bunt. And the batter is out, but the sacrifice is good as he moves Montanez over to third with 1 out.
Man on third. They brought the infield in.
The infield will be in to try to get Montanez at the plate. Here's the pitch to Hebner. It's hit to Cruz. It's a single off his glove. That will score Montanez, as playing in did not give Cruz the time to react to the hit. And Richie Hebner is safe on first. Joel Youngblood steps in. He singled his last time up. Parrott with the pitch. It's hit to Mendoza at short. Over to first for the 6-3 putout, but Hebner will make it over to second.
Man on second.
So Hebner's standing on second as Doug Flynn steps in to the batter's box. He digs in. Parrott with the pitch. And he pops it up to second base. Cruz under it easily for out number 3.
And 1 left on.
Leaving Hebner stranded on second, but not after another run comes across, and the Mets lead increases to 3, 4-1. And we go to the top of the 9th. The Mets make some defensive substitution. Maddox is inserted at center field, and Boyclair inserted at left field. As Dan Meyer steps into the batter's box, settles in, digs in, Craig Swan comes out. Craig Swan, looking for the complete game, brings the pitch. It's hit to Montanez at first. He calmly walks over, steps on the bag for out number 1.
Base is empty.
Bill Stein stepping in, swinging the bat well during his appearances, batting .556. He was .248 during the season. So did he waste all of his hits in those first couple games? Let's see as the pitch comes to Stein.
Manager calls for a pinch hitter.
Oh, and they will pinch hit. Rod Craig comes in to pinch hit, the switch hitter, batting from the left side. Here's the pitch to Craig. And he will pop it up to third base. Hebner settles under it easily for out number 2.
2 outs, base is empty.
So with 2 outs and this series about to be clinched, unless Larry Cox can do something,
The manager calls for a
and he will be sent to the bench as Willie Horton steps in to pinch hit. He has not taken a swing during this tournament. He did bat .279 with 29 home runs on 646 plate appearances. So can Horton get it done as Swan, looking to close it out, goes into windup. Here's the pitch. And he strikes him out. So Horton comes in and goes down swinging.
Until next time, this is Replay
And that will be the end of the Dumpster Fire Invitational. And the winner of the Dumpster Fire Invitational is the New York Mets. The 14th seeded New York Mets are the reigning champions of the Dumpster Fire Invitational. Craig Swan credited with the win and the MVP for the game. Mike Parrott took the loss. Let's take a look at the box score. Good pitching all around as Seattle was held to 5 hits and 1 run. We didn't see any really hot action this game. No home runs in this game. There was a triple that added a little excitement, but basically this game didn't have a whole lot of intrigue, because after the 6th, it seemed like it was pretty much settled. Great pitching by Swan as he closed out this tournament. So we have a winner of the Dumpster Fire Invitational, the New York Mets. And I know RJL 518 will be thrilled to know his Mets won the battle of the worst in the Dumpster Fire Invitational. That will conclude my playing with replay baseball, the game for a while. I'm going to go back to payoff pitch. I am going to use the replay, the PCreplay engine, but I'm going to roll the cards and dice and use the facts as I go back in. Yeah, he will, won't he, Anthony? As we go back in to the 1979 season that I'm playing with the Pittsburgh Pirates to see if I can take them back to the World Series and win it, as they did in 79. So I will be playing payoff pitch and looking forward to that. I'm also playing a best of the best championship with replay basketball, which is a double elimination tournament with 16 teams, and we're now into the second round. First round of eliminations have already begun, and we'll be playing that. And I'm looking to start up as well. Let me get off the screen and just go to the intermission. I'm looking to go as well to do some more pro strategy football, just deciding which season I want to pick and who I want to play with. I'm thinking about probably maybe the 76 Raiders, possible, and playing with that. Just enjoying some gaming. I hope everyone will have a good evening. Enjoy the evening that God has given you. Give him all the glory in it. SDG, Soli Deo Gloria. Have a good evening.